What's up, everybody? This is This is season 2 of the Conrad Sports Show. I'm sitting here in the Kirchhoff Center. Anyway, we're talking about a preseason NBA prediction for this season, the 2014-2015 season. All right, first I want to start off in the Eastern Conference. We're going to go division by division and talk about 5th through 1st and who's going to win the division. Even though winning the division doesn't mean as much as it does in other sports as it does in basketball. With that being said, let's start in the Atlantic Division, starting with 5th place being then the Celtics will be better than the 76ers, which, well, that's not really that difficult to do. After them, easily is going to be the Knicks. The Knicks just lost Tyson Chandler and just lost Raymond Felton. So if it wasn't like 100% Carmelo Anthony before, it is 100% Carmelo Anthony now. He's got some rebuilding to do, that's for certain, but I think ESPN has Carmelo ranked 13th, 12th, maybe the 11th. Yeah, the 11th best player in the league. And the Nets are going to take a step back this year. They just got way too old of a team now. It's not going to work. Kyle Lowry, Terrence Ross, DeMar DeRozan, and so here they are, 2014, 2015. A lot of people saying they got a chance. A lot of people saying they got a chance. I'm not on that bandwagon just quite yet, but I definitely think they're going to win the Atlantic Division, without a doubt. Up next is the Southeastern Division. Starting off, the Orlando Magic are coming along, but they're still way too far behind the rest of the teams to be considered a contender in this division. And then it's kind of up for grabs. You have the Hornets, the Charlotte Hornets. They signed Lance Stevenson in the offseason from Indiana, made Indiana a lot worse than they were. Also be the 4th best team. Still got Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade. Okay. Alright, so that's the guys, and here's the thing. Take a step forward. The Hornets will be the 2nd best team because the Wizards, who probably would have been the best team had they not signed Paul Pierce, signed Paul Pierce. I don't know how else to say that, but they have, Gortat, Nene, Pierce, Wall, and Beal. And I'm really excited to see this team. I'm really excited to see the Wizards. I think they're going to win this division. I think they're going to be a title contender. I always say that there's a line that you have playoff contenders and then title contenders above it. And I think the Wizards are right above that line in the East. Finally, the funnest division in all basketball, the Central Division. You have the Pacers, who just lost Lance Stevenson, as I already said. Just lost Paul George to, I don't think they're going to be worse than the Bucks. I think they'll have to try to be worse than the Bucks. Still have Hill, still have Hibbert, still have West, still have School. They'll still be pretty good, So that would be the bottom 2 teams. I think it would be Bucks 5, Pacers 4. Pains me to say, but I don't see the Pistons doing overly too well. I honestly do think if they got everything clicking and they got all their talent working together as one, I think they could legitimately challenge the Heat for the 6th seed. And then you have the Battle of the East is also the Battle of the Central. Just go player for player. Derrick Rose versus Kyrie Irving. I would give the slight edge to Irving because he can shoot better. He's probably not as explosive. Probably doesn't have as good finesse when finishing at the basket. But he's been healthy the last 2 years. Then you have Waiters versus Butler. I love Waiters. I really do think Deion Waiters is a great compliment to this big 3 that they got in Cleveland. But I would take Jimmy Butler any day of the week over Deion Waiters. Mike Dunleavy versus LeBron James. Obviously, gotta go with a better shooter and Mike Dunleavy. But seriously, I'm just kidding. Then you have Pau Gasol versus Kevin Love. But I still think Kevin Love because he can shoot, because he can dribble, because he can do it all basically. Kind of a lot like LeBron James can. I give the edge to Kevin Love. And obviously Farrah versus Noah, I give the edge to Noah. So you're looking at 2 players for Chicago versus 3 players, the big 3 for Cleveland, with almost a toss-up actually at the point guard position. So it's very close. It's going to come down to their bench. It's going to come down to their coaching. And the team with the better bench and the team with the better coaching right now is Chicago Bulls. So I think in the regular season at least, the Chicago Bulls will win the Central and the Cavaliers will fall 2nd. Switching gears now to the Western Conference, starting in the Pacific Division. We look at the Kings. Got some pieces. Got Isaiah Thomas. Got Tyreek Evans. Got Robin Lopez. They got some pieces there. Got the Lakers. Just signed Jeremy Lin. Insanity. It's going to be a great year for him. So those 2 are definitely going to be the bottom 2 teams in this division. And you have three, I think, teams that can make the playoffs in this division. I think the 3 seed's going to be the Suns again, though. They didn't really make any moves that made me say, like, oh, they're going to be a lot better this year. So I'm a little concerned there. I'm not concerned anymore for the Clippers. I was a little concerned because of the Donald Sterling thing. Was it going to hang over them? But these guys still have 2 top 10 guys on their team in Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. You know, Chris Paul, I think, the best point guard in the league. Blake Griffin, he's really starting to get his mid-range jump shot down, and he's really starting to, if he could get his mid-range jump shot down, holy cow, is that guy unstoppable. Unless they can get the pieces to finally work together perfectly, a lot like the way I think the number 1 team in this division does in the Golden State Warriors. The Splash Brothers, you know, of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Okay, then you have Andre Iguodala on the side, you know, defending. You have David Lee, you got Andrew Bogut. And you signed Steve Kerr, who has no coaching experience whatsoever. And I think the only reason his name was even mentioned was because Phil Jackson had interest in him. Next, we're going to the Northwest Division. It's really the split hairs between who's worse now, between the Timberwolves and the Jazz. Because the Jazz, you know, they have Trey Burke. Timberwolves got Ricky Rubio, so I guess I'll give the edge to the Jazz. So the Timberwolves will be 5th. Jazz will be 4th. Nuggets will be 3rd, almost by default. I still don't think they're that bad of a team, but man, these 2 teams. I think the Trailblazers definitely will win the first half. You got Kevin Durant, he's out for 8 weeks. Well, I think the Thunder will still be good. I think the Thunder should not be ashamed of being the 2 seed in this division because that's a great team. You got Lillard, Batum, okay, you got Matthews. You know, you got an amazing backcourt and a pretty solid front court headed by LaMarcus Aldridge. You got to say probably goes Howard, Noah, and then Aldridge. Finally, in the Southwest Division or the Texas Division, as there's not a bad team in this division. Simple as that. You look at the Pelicans, Holiday, Davis, like I already mentioned, number 3 player according to ESPN. I don't know the numbers. I don't think it's ever happened to where a division has had all their teams get in. But if there would be a year, if there would be a time, and if there would be a division, it would be 2014, 2015, Southwest Division, the Western Conference. You know, they did have 4 teams in the playoffs last year: Spurs, Rockets, Mavericks, Grizzlies. So 4 seed would be the Grizzlies, Houston Rockets, who would be the 3 team. And I think because they lost Parsons and didn't get Bosh, that's why. I think we're just going to see these guys get better. I think the Mavericks are going to be a great team. And what concerns me about the Mavericks is when they play the Rockets, they won't have the best player on the court, and they won't have the second best player on the court. That's the only thing that concerns me about it. And what concerns me about the Mavericks when playing the Spurs is they won't have the best coach on the court because the best coach in the league, still the number 1 team in this division, possibly the Western Conference, San Antonio Spurs. Alright, time has come to get the important stuff. This is not a preseason prediction as to who's going to win the regular season. It's a preseason prediction as to who's going to win the entire season. Playoff time. First matchup, Hawks and Bulls. Bulls win 4 games out of 5. Then it's Heat Cavs. Yeah, right off the bat, first round, these 2 teams battle it out. Cavs sweep. Pistons versus Raptors. I would love to pick Pistons in this circumstance. Raptors in 6. Finally, Wizards and Hornets. This is actually a really good matchup, I think, for the Wizards. This is a team on the upswing. I think the Hornets are on the upswing too, but I just think the Wizards are a little bit higher. So, risky business as I pick all the top 4 seeds to win. Yeah, I know. It's going to be really awkward when I get to the next round because it'll be Bulls, Wizards. I think the Bulls coaching is really going to shine in this series. And I think it's going to be a 7-game series, maybe a 6-game series. But definitely a Bulls win. I'm sorry to the Raptors and the Raptors fans, but Cavs win in 6. Bulls versus Cavs. I would love to say the Bulls are going to win. But here's the thing. The Bulls don't have LeBron James. Continuing on to the Western Conference. Grizzlies Spurs. Rematch of last year. The Grizzlies have a great team, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think they have the depth to do it. Thunder play the Warriors. They could beat that team with a healthy Durant and a healthy Ibaka and a healthy Westbrook. But the Thunder, I think the Thunder will take it. I think the Thunder will win in 7. Clippers and Mavericks. These are 2 teams who are really stacked. But here's the situation. Okay, their first of 5 is Felton, Ellis, Parsons, Chandler. Yeah, I don't. No pun intended. And Dirk Nowitzki. That's their team. The Clippers just don't got it. Just don't got it. I think they'll win 2 because they're a good enough team too. But Mavericks convincingly in 6. At least Rockets and Trailblazers is a rematch of last year's, and I think what happened last year is going to happen again this year. Trailblazers win 6 games this time instead of 7. That puts the Mavericks versus the Thunder. Mavericks win 6. And then you have Trailblazers Spurs again. Maybe an upset. Trailblazers don't have the depth, the coaching, the shooting, the defense to beat the Spurs. Spurs win 7. Spurs Mavericks, like I said, a team built to beat the Spurs versus the Spurs. Okay, I don't think the Spurs will take them lightly. I think the Spurs know that the Mavericks added 5 players this offseason, and last year in the first round, the Spurs went to 7 games with the Dallas Mavericks. I look at Felton and Parker. That's easily Parker. I'm just going to put Ginobili in. I'll put Ginobili versus Ellis. Kawhi Leonard is such a great basketball player. LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Kevin Durant are the only guys I'd pick over Kawhi Leonard. But then you have Dirk Nowitzki versus Boris Diaw, and I give the edge to Dirk Nowitzki. So I give the edge to Duncan, and I give the edge to the Spurs. It's unfortunate to see the Mavericks really spend all this money and still lose to the Spurs, but the Spurs have a winning formula, okay? And it's not like the triangle offense or anything secret. It's Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, Popovich, and unselfish role players. The NBA Finals will be Cavs versus Spurs. LeBron 1 and 2 against the Spurs all time. That'd be really driving at him. Here's the thing. Varejao and Miller would be the only players on the Heat, unless they make a trade, that have been to an NBA Finals before. Let me look at LeBron. LeBron made it to the playoffs every single year thus far. His first appearance in the NBA Finals, he choked. Even his second appearance in the NBA Finals, he choked. The Heat had the best player on the court last year, and they lost convincingly. I don't think it's going to be as bad, but you know what? It's a dynasty for a reason. I think Duncan will retire this time. I think Ginobili will retire this time, and I think Boris Diaw and a lot of guys will retire this time. But that being said, Spurs win in 6 over the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's it. That's it for my show. Listen to me on WCKSTheWhale.com. Just click listen. I'm on from 11 to noon Saturday mornings on WCKS The Whale.